O is for orange. O is also for oven. Now, can you do this one? That's right, ophthalmologist. Hello and welcome back to Copper Quest, and today is something a little bit different. Today I'm taking part in the A to Z challenge that has seemed to be just running wild across my YouTube to watch page, and I've been challenged a multiple amount of times, so I'm finally getting around to it. I'm going to do what Retroverse has nominated me for and what Altered Beast has nominated me for. First up, the letter O, and honestly this one took me a little bit of a while to decide. I scoured through my shelves to try and recommend something for you guys, and then it hit me. Now I'm slightly cheating here because this is part of another title, but it's one that I think everybody refers to by the letter O, and it's the one that the obvious choice. What game is the letter O? Of course, we're going to talk about my personal greatest game of all time and a chunk of you guys' personal greatest game of all time. Ocarina of Time. That's right. I was just sat there for ages and was like, what begins with the letter O? Octopath Traveler, Outer Wilds, One Piece. And then I saw it, I was just like, Ocarina of Time, of course. What can I say about Ocarina of Time that has not been echoed time and time again? Honestly, this is one of those games that just defined an era, and still to this day is genuinely considered one of the greatest games of all time. Has it held up? Personally, for me, it's one of those games I can come back to time and time again, and it's one of those games that I will always have a great time with. Is it still the best? For me, yes, but I can definitely see if you're coming into this game and haven't played it before, you can definitely see where some of the kind of stuff has kind of worn away a little bit. Of course, we are getting a brand new remake of this later on in the year, and yeah, I can't wait to delve back into it. Who can forget that first time stepping onto Hyrule Fields? The absolutely fantastic OST, and the Water Temple. Temple that I definitely got stuck on when I was a kid. That key underneath the platform that always gets us. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think gaming would be the same without Ocarina of Time. It was still a landmark title, and it is still one of the greats, at least in my opinion. But I'm not going to just get away with just doing a very easy one of the letter O and just saying Ocarina of Time, because you could go, oh, you know, it's the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That's right. Let's talk about another game, begin with O, that I think needs to be maybe in more people's collections, and this one is on just about every single console over the last 20 years. What game am I talking about? Well, it's a Zelda, I wouldn't say clone, but it's a game definitely inspired by Zelda, and probably the best non-Zelda Zelda game. Of course, we're talking about Okami, a game that I have bought so many times now. I bought it on the PS2, bought it on the Wii, on the PS4, I think I bought it on the PS3, I think they had a HD remake on that, and of course I bought it on the Nintendo Switch. This one's an import. So this puts you as the sun god Amaterasu in their wolf form, and you have to basically rejuvenate ancient Japan. Honestly, this game is absolutely fantastic. The visuals are beautiful, and it's getting a sequel, hopefully sooner rather than later, which probably won't get a physical release. Oh, that's a shame. Still, Okami is one of those games I will buy time and time again. Anytime there's a new re-release of it, I will buy it, I will replay it. It is an absolutely fantastic installment. One of those games that just, I think it's one of those games that doesn't really pop into people's mind immediately when they think of the letter O, but if I'm going to exclude Ocarina of Time, for me, this is the big one. Now, I was also nominated by Altered Beast for the letter U, and, well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you've been checking out the channel, there's a game beginning with the letter U that I will talk about and talk about and talk about. UFO 50. Of course, you knew it was coming. I've talked about, anytime I get a chance to talk about this game, I will talk about it. A selection of 50 games for the made-up console, the UFO, and there's a game in here for just about everybody. If you're a huge fan of your retro games, your classic games, this has a ton of content here for you. You've got a taxi driver, onion delivery game, you've got a submarine Metroid, you've got puzzle games, you've got a golf robot game, you've got a gambling game, you've got a point and click adventure spooky house game, you've got an RPG with cowboys, you've got an RPG with golf balls and strategy game. There is just about everything in here, and each of the games have been built up. Each of the games, it's not going to be a game, every game is not going to be for everybody, but most, if not all of them, will hit for you at some point. This is one of those games where you're going to very much rush through it, play all of the games for a few minutes, and kind of come away and go, oh, but each and every game has some depth to it. And it's one of those games that I've picked up this year. It's probably my favourite game of this year so far, and it's one of those games that I think is also going to continue for the remainder of my life, being what I dip back to time and time again to get that 100% on all of them games. But I'm going to be generous to you guys because I think UFO 50 was an obvious choice. Let's talk about a game that came out a few years ago and I think is fantastic. Again, another one that I mentioned in my 20 Switch games that are worth picking up. Unicorn Overlord. So we see a lot of strategy games, strategy RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. A lot of them are that kind of the grid-based one like Fire Emblem or Disgaea, or we have that Metal Slug one that came out a few years ago. But Unicorn Overlord is more based on Ogre Battle, Super Nintendo N64 title that didn't really make it over to the UK. And this has the beautiful visuals from Vanillaware. It has a very addicting gameplay loop, and it has a lot of fun and fantastic characters. This is one of those games where it's visually beautiful, the combat system is very addicting and very fun, and it's a very lengthy campaign. I think I'm about 30 hours in, and I stopped playing maybe a year or so ago, but I keep going back to it like every now and again. It's a really enjoyable one. Not perfect by any means, but I think it's one that I think a lot more people will enjoy. So this comes to the point where I'm supposed to nominate somebody else for it, but when I look through the playlist, I think pretty much everybody I know has already done it. Unfortunately, I'm going to be that guy who kind of stops it for everybody else and says, oh, you know, I genuinely can't think of anybody else who has not done this or has not been nominated for it. If you are reading this and you are a content creator and have not done it, pick up another letter. I think we're on V or X, so yeah, difficult. I mean, V's easy. We've got Valkyria Chronicles for crying out. X, XCOM maybe. Y, Yooka-Laylee, Yoshi, Z. Obvious choice, isn't there? But yeah, thanks for everybody else for nominating me for it. It's been fun to delve through and kind of go through the games I've got and kind of find one I can recommend to you guys. But I'm sure there's plenty more out there. I mean, there's the obvious choice, isn't there? Undertale.